I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Mason, who has been working on this project for a long time, and not only this project, but greater participation on the part of blacks in this region.
I feel better than
Dr. Mason, excuse me, could we get you to scoot this way a little bit so you're not backed up to the window?
Can we get you to move those mics towards him?
We've had meeting after meeting after meeting to work. That's my concern. My concern is, first of all, that these graduates are able to enter an apprenticeship program because they've gotten the training. I know how we work with them to get them ready for it. And we're not talking about taking German jobs, but we're talking about working under German. I'll make that clear, because the media sometimes is saying, well, you know, your folks aren't qualified. They can't work on the bridge, but they can work under somebody who's trained to work on the bridge. That's what we're saying. We don't want any excuses. And I believe that they heard our beck and cry today. And on this phone, the governor's aide was on the phone there listening. And I really think we've reached a degree of success. You know, I'm still cautiously objective about it, cautiously, you know, optimistic about a lot of things here, but I feel a little better today.
The other thing I'd like to point to is the strength shown by the greater East St. Louis community. And that's by many people who are in this room right now, and individuals who are here at 5 o'clock who left, but who showed the interest to stand and say, we need to make sure that East St. Louis and the surrounding communities are being counted. They need to understand we were ready to shut this bridge down today. But because of the good news that we received last night, that the governor's staff wanted to be involved in a meeting, the members of this community showed a lot of discipline, even though they were showing a lot of strength and a lot of fervor to go ahead and move forward toward shutting it down. The fact that this community showed that kind of discipline, showed that kind of strength to say we're ready to stand and be counted, just shows another one of the positive reasons we feel so good about the people going to work. If they can show this kind of restraint, suffering, and in many cases starving, could have gone down and created a ruckus, didn't do so, that just shows the positive strength of the greater East St. Louis community. Also want to take this opportunity to continue to commend Mayor Mark Jackson, Mayor James Jones, other mayors who have been with us standing, like Mayor Randy McCallum, Mayor Tyrone Eccles, and others who are here to continue fighting for their people and fighting for the people of this entire region. At this point, we turn it over to the media for any questions that you have.
Gentlemen, what about the unions? Were there any union leaders at the table, and is this going to be a problem? Because isn't it the unions where the barrier has existed?
No, we anticipate that we're going to have a positive working relationship. We think, Betsy, long story short, that every element of what we need to get accomplished here is going to be accomplished. Now, you hit a key point. The unions will be a very key point. We're working with IDOT at this point to make sure, and the governor's office being a really key component, to make sure that we communicate with the contractors, and the contractors can hopefully wield some influence on the unions to say, send us some black workers, whether we're talking about the laborers, the carpenters, the iron workers, whatever unions that need to be involved in these projects, send us some black workers, send us some other ethnic minority workers to these jobs. The contractors make the difference in those decisions.
If I may, let me address it, because and I want to echo what was said about the governor's office intervention. When we last met with IDOT, we had a 2-page agenda items that we wanted to discuss with them, and they didn't even want to hear it. We went through each of these items with the governor's office here and got a much different and a much more positive reception. Now, in terms of dealing with the unions, there are 2 aspects of that we're focused on, and that the governor's office is focused on. One is to make sure that the unions come to the table. This meeting was to begin to set the parameters. So one of the commitments we've gotten from the governor's office is that they're going to be bringing the unions to the table for discussion. The other important aspect of this is the project labor agreements, the PLA agreements. We are insistent, and they are in agreement, that those PLA agreements be negotiated so that they call for a percentage of blacks and minorities to work on these projects. So we have the commitment to have those negotiations on the PLAs which apply to these projects.
Mr. Mayor, can I speak?
Hold on for a second. Let's address the media first.
Okay.
Carolyn, you had a question?
Do we know how many jobs this will bring about? If you discussing a certain number of jobs?
No, not yet. Some of the specifics still have to be worked out, and it's going to vary based upon the project, the size of the project, and the number of people that will be required in each job.
We're asking that the contractors, those who have those contracts, come before us, and we can negotiate then, how many people that they can accept. Some of them have lucrative contracts, and we want to make sure, and they've agreed to that.
Has there been any kind of discussion about some of the issues that you discussed here today?
We'll give some general statements. We discussed percentages that we'd like to see, making sure that we continue to increase the level of minority participation. We discussed making sure that those individuals who have been trained in the MEBCO training program go to work. I know that impacts a lot of people who are actually in this room right now. We discussed the apprenticeship issue. We discussed making sure to influence the contractors, to influence the unions, to send union workers who happen to be representative of the population in this area.
Mayor, if I may speak, we also went even further because IDOT, in fact, the governor's man went further to say that District 8, there's other jobs other than the Mississippi River Bridge out there that people are working on. They want to make sure that we get a percentage of our people out there on some of those jobs that you're passing up and down on St. Clair Avenue and up on 157 and back over in those areas where you don't see any minority participation. We're going to begin to see minority participation on those jobs too. So we just didn't look at the Mississippi River Bridge. Housing Authority over there is building a multi-million-dollar project right over here on Bar Avenue. We're looking at that too. We're saying that we're going to put just everybody that we possibly can put to work, and the governor's office is agreeing to working with us to get that done. So I think this meeting, as far as I'm concerned, was one of the most positive meetings I've had since 1969. And I've been out here struggling since that time. Brothers, I think y'all going to go to work.